right, everybody. Thank you so much for jumping on this afternoon, guys. Really excited about this. One of the things that was very important to me when we were starting our real estate investing journey was making sure that we were very judicious, right? We were very, frugal with the marketing dollars that we were spending, right? I didn't want to be sending, every address postcards, right? I couldn't afford to send 200,000 postcards out to everybody in Chattanooga, Tennessee when we were starting. But one of the things that I love about outbound marketing, and that's generally direct mail or cold calling or texting, I can literally go into batch and I can pull a list of exactly what I'm looking for, right? So if I want houses that, were built between 1940 and 1960 that are at least 1,000 square foot, no bigger than 2,000 square foot, maybe, some areas you can even do it by bedrooms, right? How many, 3 bedroom minimum in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Like I can really refine that list and make sure that I'm only talking to the people that I want to be talking to, right? And what does that do? I can adjust that list up or down and only spend the amount of money that I want to be spending. So super excited to have Phill on here today from Batch. They've been around just forever and really are the industry standard for data and all things real estate. So Phill, I appreciate you hopping on today. I'm not going to go on too long because I know we have a lot of stuff that we want to cover, and I know you told me some of the stuff that you got, and it's really cool. So I want to turn it over to you, and let's get right into it.
Thanks, David. I really appreciate you getting me in front of your community here, and it was great having you on last week. We're great partners, so thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about who we are, what we do, and then just a few things like so I lead the marketing team here, but I also work very closely with our product and product strategy teams, and so there's a few things that we've worked on with our data, with our offerings that are really sort of reactive to market conditions right now, as well as different regulations, what's working, what's not from a marketing and lead gen standpoint. So hopefully I can give you guys some kind of informative information about kind of what's happening in the market, what you should look out for, and kind of what tools and technologies you should be looking at over the next year to continue being successful in your lead gen efforts. So first off here, who is Batch Service? A lot of people don't know that we're not just a batch leads or a batch skip tracing. You may have heard of those products before, but our umbrella company is Batch Service. We've been in business now for going on 6 years. Started out as batch skip tracing. We were founded by a group of very talented and successful wholesalers who weren't happy with the skip tracing services out there. They were sick of getting, 20, 30%, right party contact rates. And so they decided to take on the challenge of building new technologies and data sourcing services to solve that problem. And business really took off for us just because of our reputation for high quality skip trace data. We lead the industry right now with about a 76% right party contact rate, which sounds like it could be improved, and we continuously do work on improving it. But the average right now is about 32% in the industry. And so while we're not the cheapest data out there, I will actually give you guys some free data today too, but we pride ourselves on making sure that you're getting the best ROI for your marketing dollars because the data is accurate and you're not wasting your time on bad data. From there, they wanted to solve problems in the list building industry, right? Not having sort of comprehensive data when it comes to either sale and loan or listing or equity or what have you. Not a lot of solutions out there had good fill rates on that. So it was difficult to pull those really, really niche lists that David mentioned. You don't want to market to 10,000 homes. You want to market to the 1,000 that exactly meet the criteria that are going to be motivated to sell. From there, we launched Batch Dialer in 2020, which again is very focused on features and functionality specific for real estate investors, which I'll talk about a little bit. And then just a couple of years ago, we launched Batch Data. In our 6-year journey of working with over 50 different data vendors, we've really figured out who has the best data for what types of data and what categories. And that's given us the opportunity to work with about a dozen different vendors now that are the best at what they do. And what we've done to power our own products is we've consolidated, standardized, and formatted that into a single database that is accurate and comprehensive in all data categories. And a couple of years ago, we opened that up through APIs and bulk data so that other companies, other large investors, other prop tech platforms, software platforms can actually use our purpose-built APIs to power their own businesses and their own operations. So that's an exciting new one for us.
Nice.
So a little bit about Batch Data, which is our core lead gen platform. I'll do like a few minute test drive with you guys in a few minutes here to show you kind of around it. But what do you use Batch Leads for? A couple things. Number one is finding motivated sellers. Number two is you can actually find cash buyers and investors. Number three, of course, skip tracing your records, right? Uncovering that contact information for those owners. We, as David mentioned, we support multiple campaigns here. So calling, there's actually a built-in single line dialer in Batch Leads now. We support native direct mail campaigns, which you can launch and track and execute all from Batch Leads, and also SMS. So SMS is a little bit of a sticky topic. I know that it was kind of the most popular lead gen method, a year or two ago, because, right, you could just pull a list of 50,000 distressed properties or motivated sellers, send a bunch of texts, and then, someone might raise their hand, right? It was very easy, right? Not painful. It's not easy to get on the phone, right? That takes some grit. But regulations have changed quite a bit around SMS. And I'll take a quick sidestep to speak about this a little bit. It's really not something that is allowed in real estate anymore. Regulations have really, and carriers have partnered with regulators too, to really shut that down. It's even difficult to get an account now with like a tele.net or a Plevo or what have you, right? It is still very effective though, and there is ways to do this. And at the end of the call, I'll talk about one of our partners that's really good for that. But if you're going to leverage SMS, which you can integrate in Batch Leads and do your SMS campaign still, there are some great companies emerging right now that are very, very good and clever about their 10DLC registration methods, about how to apply your LLC across these different platforms to look in compliance, and also just great campaign management skills they offer that actually do make your campaigns compliant if you're doing the right volumes, if you're using the right sort of verbiage. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. Folks also use our platform not just for off-market deals, but for finding on-market deals. We have nationwide MLS access now, essentially real-time in almost every market. And so for, with David's promo, you can get into Batch Leads for like $49 and basically have nationwide MLS. We do bundle a lot of tools that help you find under-market listings, certain ARV percentages. I'll show you that in a few. You can also use Batch Leads as a mini CRM. So you can use our search to build your own list. You can also upload your own lists, but we have lead scoring, we have lead statuses, we have notes, we have tasks. You can essentially use the My List section in Batch Leads as a CRM. And then lastly, driving for dollars, right? So that's still something that a lot of people employ. You can pull all the lists you want, but that's not going to get you a real-time image of a property that has uncut grass or a broken window, right? And so Batch Leads offers a mobile app that helps you do that if you're physically driving for dollars, but also we have a virtual driving for dollars tool that's built into this, where you can actually sit at your desk and virtually drive around in three-dimensional Google Maps or Google Earth. And that's actually getting better and better, because I don't know if you guys have seen the Google cars that are driving around that are taking images. Those are exponentially growing every year. And we're on track in about a year and a half now to essentially have an updated real-time neighborhood view of all neighborhoods within like 18 months. Now we'll update like on a monthly basis. That's really exciting because it now brings the benefits of doing it in person available virtually now. And not having to worry about like, oh, this Google image is from 2021. Is this still vacant? Probably not. That is going to go away. And so we're trying to get ahead of that. What's new about Batch Leads? If you guys have heard about us, we actually do include skip tracing credits in our plans for no additional cost. Depending on your plan, you get up to 1,000 per month. And that is, the same quality skip trace data that we charge 9 cents a record for anywhere else. So that's a huge benefit to the plan. You guys may have heard of places that, offer, free unlimited skip tracing or whatever it is. I'm telling you that nothing good is free. But we do offer enough that if you are truly using all of our data points to build that super, super hyper targeted list, and you use those free skip trace credits, you can do a lot of really great lead gen without a lot of additional marketing costs. There's some new quick filters I'll show you, new ways to sort of find under market deals, different mortgage and demographic filters that help there too. We also have launched an agent outreach directory. So within Batch Leads, there is a searchable database of all agents that are 1.2 million agents registered in the nation right now. And you can filter those agents by the markets that they're in, how many deals they've done within 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Are they doing single family? Are they doing commercial? What is the average value of the homes that this agent is selling? That's super awesome because, agent outreach is huge right now. Agents are very hungry to work with investors. Investors have a lot of opportunity to partner with agents on homes that aren't moving. Everything is slow right now. So when you put wholesalers and agents together, you can get deals done. So that's a great feature for you guys to be able to network with agents and market to agents from the platform as well. And then lastly, we just have a new interface. If you guys haven't seen us before, it won't mean anything to you, but I'll give you a little test drive here in a minute. Also, so we offer this dialer too, right? And there's a few things I want to talk about in the world of cold calling. I'm moving my little thing around. Alex, we good? All right. Cold calling is in my opinion, the most effective way to generate leads for your dollar today. You can do like the PPC route or whatever, where you're paying $500,000 a lead. Those are great, right? Those are likely to convert. But cold calling is effective because you get direct engagement with the seller. You can build trust and reputation, and also is very cost effective to scale. You yourself using a dialer can make 1,000 calls a day, right? And speak to hundreds of people. But there's also so many great services out there, VA services that are trained in real estate scripts that know how to use a batch dialer, where you can have 3, 4, 5 callers calling for you a day and like really start to predictively build up your lead pipeline. But there is a few issues with cold calling that we're trying to address from a product standpoint. First kind of cool feature that I'll talk about in Batch Dialer is that we actually integrate all of our property and homeowner intelligence into the dialer. So whether it's you calling or an agent calling, they, during their call, can actually see images of the home, the finances of the property owner, things about their family, other properties they own, comps, all that stuff is there for you. And so this informs their conversations more, whoever your callers are, but also you can disposition on the fly too. A lot of folks have it set up where it's like, hey, let's use a dialer to just get a hand raiser. Then we'll put it over to our dispositions team. Now with the same dialer, you can get someone on the hook, transfer, or right there with the same person, do your dispositioning and qualification within the dialer. Second thing I'll talk about, and this is like the biggest thing, mark my words, this will become hypercritical for everyone over the next year. But if anyone's heard of stir shaken regulations, this is something that happened about 18, 20 months ago, where carriers, again, have partnered with regulators, much like SMS, to essentially make cold calling show up as spam likely or scam likely or robocall. Now, we in real estate are actually legitimate business. This was designed to actually stop scams and stop robocalls that are not legitimate businesses, which I'm sure we've all experienced and picked up, phone calls from. But those new regulations are impacting legitimate businesses like ours who are not trying to scam people. We're legitimately doing outbound calling campaigns to engage with sellers. But what's happening is that our calls, because we're doing high volumes of them, are being labeled as spam likely or scam likely or robocall. This is bad news for us because the average answer rate for a call that has an unknown label is 27%, but the answer rate for a call with a negative label like spam likely or robocall likely is only 9%. So whether you're calling yourself or outsourcing your calls, this is cutting your connection rates by 2/3. So we have some really cool stuff within Batch Dialer that actually mitigates this. Number one is we partner with a company called Caller Reputation ID and run their software on the back end. And what this actually does is monitors all 12 carriers for each of your phone numbers for carrier flags. Now, carrier flag is when a carrier says, hey, there's been 100 outbound calls here, but only 2 inbound calls. This looks suspicious. I'm going to flag that number as potential spam or scam. Once you hit 3 carrier flags, that number is locked into a spam likely status for the life of that number, or it has to be cooled off or re-registered with carriers. What we're doing is we're in real time monitoring these carrier flags. When 2 carrier flags pop up, which means you're close to ruining the reputation of that number, we'll actually rest that number for you and cool it off in order to remove those carrier flags. If you happen to get 3 carrier flags, which ruins the reputation of your number, it's now spam likely no matter how you call it or who you call, we actually detect that, automatically replace that number in the campaign with a new phone number that's a attestation. And in our Batch Dialer Advanced plans, we actually include 60 phone numbers and 60 phone number replacements per agent per month in that plan. So what that means for you is you no longer have to worry about being negatively labeled. You don't have to do the administration of monitoring the numbers and replacing them when that does happen. And also you don't have the additional cost anymore of having to constantly purchase phone numbers to replace those ones. And so we've seen massive results with our clients in terms of their connection rates here. The economics of that make total sense to a lot of folks. They're actually saving numbers on their operational costs and numbers. And most importantly, with the same agents making the same amount of calls, they're doubling or tripling the amount of leads that they're getting simply because they're not showing up as a spam likely phone number throughout the day. Last cool thing I'll talk about between batch leads and batch dialer is how we're integrated together so tightly. So if you are building a list in batch leads, let's say you've niched down to your tired landlords that are specific equity, have owned for more than 10 years, the property's X amount years old, as David mentioned. Now you want to reach out to these, right? And maybe I'm dialing myself, or maybe I have a company, overseas or not local that is going to be doing the calls. I can just take that list from Batch Dialer, and in like 2 clicks, I can send it over to Batch Dialer from Batch Leads, and it will start a new campaign for me. I can even add this to an existing campaign, and in seconds, someone will be calling those for me. Now, when those leads are called in Batch Dialer, those agents are going to leave notes. They're going to leave dispositions. They're going to qualify. They're going to disqualify. They may set up a follow-up call. All of that information from Batch Dialer is going to be synced back to Batch Leads. Those lead statuses, those notes, those interactions. So again, Batch Leads then acts as sort of a master hub for you to manage your campaigns. No importing, no exporting, no reformatting of files. It just gets synced over with 1 click from Batch Leads. I'll do a quick, before I get into the offer here, I'll do a quick just like run through of Batch Leads if anyone's curious to kind of see what that looks and feels like. Pop into here real quick. Still see my screen okay, David?
Yeah, everything looks good.
All right, cool. So this is the Batch Leads interface. I'll just show you some of the key features here, get you a sense for what it feels like. Really, we've set this up to follow a 3-step strategy. Pick your market, pick your strategy, and then apply your filters. I'm going to go ahead and do Phoenix, Arizona. That's because where I'm sitting right here. And now here's all the properties in Phoenix, Arizona. Now we've got this sweet toggle up here that is off or on market. So depending on what my strategy is for the day, whether I'm looking to partner with, agents of expiring listings, or I'm looking for just off market motivated sellers, that's where I'll choose my strategy here. One of our most used features is our quick filters here, which give you like a 1-click list. If you're looking for pre-foreclosures, vacants, tired landlords, these quick filters are stacking up multiple filters for you and applying it into one filter. So for example, tired landlords is a single family residence that's under $500,000 that's been owned for at least 10 years. And the owner of that property also owns additional single family properties. So instead of going through and applying all those filters, I can just click this here and see all of those here in Phoenix. There's also some additional off and on market lead finder filters here too. So equity is a big one, right? If someone doesn't have high equity in their property, they're not going to be on top if they give you an under market deal. Years owned is another one. You can apply additional filters there. And then here's where kind of the data really shines through for us. You've got all these quick filters you can apply and actually stack together. So I'm looking at tired landlords, right? But I want to see the ones that actually are out of state as well and are absentee owners. So they've got multiple properties that are vacant that they're paying for that are not occupied. So I'll update that. So now I went from 22,000 properties to now, let me get my little picture out of my own way here, 245 properties. So I've clicked like 4 buttons here and I've found 245 properties that have 7 or 8 different factors that would indicate motivation to sell. This is what I want to market to, is 245, not 22,000. And that's where something like calling or texting or building that individual relationship is going to be really fruitful. When I look at these properties too, there's lots of great things for me to reference here. So I will go ahead and skip trace this too, just so you guys can see what that looks like. Skip trace. So in a minute here, I will know the owner and their phone numbers right here. So this is Priscilla's. And when I'm speaking to Priscilla too, she may not be interested in selling this property right here, but I can see all the other properties that she owns in her portfolio too, right? So maybe she's not interested in this one, but hey, let's talk about 4201, Pierce Road. Is there anything else that you might be willing to sell or maybe plan to sell in the next few years? And then as I gather that intel from her, again, using this as a mini CRM here. Sorry, my own picture keeps getting in my way here. One moment. There we go. Sale and loan information, tax information, MLS, pre-foreclosure information, all the goodies. For some reason, I can't scroll down here. Sorry, guys. If I could continue to scroll down and see below my screen here, you'd see a notes section where I can leave notes on this property that, again, gets saved into my list, and I can use as sort of a CRM here. I'll show you on market as well. So when I click on market, now my quick filters here have updated to filters I would care about that are on market. So maybe a free and clear property, maybe a pending listing, active listings, or let's look at below market price. So when I click this here, these are all the listings where we've run comps on the background for all of these properties. We know what they should be valued at based on the comps report, and the listing price is X%. I believe it's 15 is the default, lower than the listing price. So great way to just find deals on market. I can also use filters like deal potential, right? So what is the ARV percentage, the after repair value? So I only want to see properties that are listed at 60% of their what could be after repair value. And again, I went from 5,000 just now on market listings to 200 that are severely underpriced. So I have high confidence that a reno is needed here. Something's going on with the property where there's going to be upside for me as an investor. And when I save this property too, this is actually a really cool feature. I'll select all and save to a list. I can save these properties to a list, but I can also save the agents separately. So when we're talking on-market deals here, I now have a list of the agents that represent those properties. So rather than marketing to the property owners, I can now market in the same way to the agents directly and partner with them on these properties. So that's kind of a high overview of the search here. Again, I mentioned there is the My List section, which you can use as a sort of miniature CRM. You can update lead statuses here, create your own lead statuses, take your notes, do all your filtering. This is also where you can stack lists, right? Or I can actually pull additional distress factors from stacked lists to build new campaigns or reliven different campaigns. The agent outreach is what I told you about here. This is where I can build the lists of agents, right? Where does the agent work? What realty? What markets? How many listings have they done? And this is huge too, because out of the 1.2 million agents that are in the nation right now, only about 200 to 250,000 are actually doing deals. So this saves you a lot of time in figuring out like, hey, who's actually doing these kind of deals? And then with the property filters you can apply to the agents too, you can filter down to who are the agents who are willing to do the types of deals with me, who's partnering on wholesale deals, who's partnering on under market or off market deals. How quickly are they moving these deals? I can also look for agents who maybe have a bunch of listings that aren't moving. Who needs help moving some properties? That's another angle you could take here with the agent outreach directory. And just like properties, you save these to a list, you add them to a campaign, you export them however you want to do that. Skip trace tab here. If you want to bring in your own lists and skip trace them, you can do that here as well. This is also where you can just access quickly anything you've ever skip traced in batch leads and download that. As I mentioned, we have SMS and direct mail campaigns also built into here, which is super fun. I mentioned the driving routes. So driving for dollars, I can drop myself into virtually any neighborhood here, start tracking my route. It will track the route for me. And as I'm driving around virtually, I can look at homes. I can see the details, look at who the owner is. I'll tell you who really likes this is folks who sell home services door to door, folks who are doing pool services, who are trying to sell yard maintaining services. They love sitting at home rather than being in the Phoenix sun and virtually knocking like this. I can call this homeowner right now. I know that Alexander Williams has lived there for 2 years. I can even filter my virtual drive down to label properties where someone has just moved in the last 6 months. So they're going to know more likely need my services from that perspective. So that's a real fun tool. You can pause your drive here, stop and save. These are all the drives that I've done historically over here on the right. And the other thing is from the mobile app, if I'm driving around in my car and tracking my route and taking notes, all of that driving route information is actually going to be sent back to the desktop app here where I can access that here. Inbox, this is where my SMS stuff is here. And then reporting, right? This is where you run all your reports, set your KPIs, all that kind of fun stuff. Last thing I'll mention that's unique about Batch Leads is that we have multiple users and workspaces. So you can delegate. You can have multiple unique logins under a single account. If you're on a team, you can delegate skip tracing credits. You can delegate lead storage. You can delegate all that to your different team members. So if you're running an operation of multiple people, we really make it easy for you to be able to operate independently within the same account. And that's kind of the high level overview. If anyone has any questions or want me to spend more time on anything else, I'm happy to, but hopefully that gives you guys a little idea of kind of the Batch Leads experience.
Man, Phil, talk about drinking from a water hose. My Lord. I can't even tell you guys, the technology of software has gotten so advanced. Man, when I was first starting out in 2002, we were lucky to just be able to pull a list of, absentee owners. Right? Like that was the peak of what was happening back then. But, a couple of things you brought up earlier about, getting cheap data or, unlimited skip traces. Bro, I cannot tell you how bad that is for your CRM and for your dialer. One time somebody came to me and said, "Hey, I'll trade you out some skip tracing for one of your courses." I'm like, "Oh, okay. That sounds great." It was like an STD for my dialer, man. It was so bad. like everybody, Twilio, everybody was mad with us. Like we had to go through all this stuff to get our account unseized. It was like just pouring, maple syrup in the engine of our CRM. It was just absolutely terrible. So, and
Yeah.
9 cents is nothing for skip tracing. I remember when a deal was 15 cents. So no, I think what you guys are doing is great. And you're being at 76% accuracy is pretty dang good. A lot of people complain about like when you get skip trace numbers back that they're not accurate. And what I always tell people is like skip trace yourself. Like when I skip trace me, there are a bunch of numbers that come up when I lived in Florida. Yeah, it's me at the time. The number was right. Just, it's just not the right number anymore. So
Mhm.
76% is pretty good.
Yeah, and a lot of people too, I hear this all the time. It's like, oh, skips are 8 cents here, but I can get them here for 6 cents. And the mindset is that I'm saving 2 cents per lead, but people don't think about the cost of the bad record. What
Right.
is your time worth when you've dialed 500 numbers in a day that were the wrong person? Like, great, 500 times 2 cents, you saved yourself like $10. Like, is that worth your day of time?
Yeah, I'm here to tell you, back in the day, a few years ago, we were sending 50 to 70,000 texts a week. And, that's a lot of clicks. And it just you don't want to be sending stuff to bad numbers. It's just not good. I promise you it's
Nope.
not.
Nope, nope. And the likelihood of actually having action pursued against you now for calling DNCs or doing the texting is much higher than it was a few years ago. And so that's why we do all DNC scrubs by default when we do our skip tracing. And it's can't stress how important it is now.
Yeah, and I love that you guys added driving for dollars back a little bit ago. That's fantastic. And just the simplest thing, man. I don't know if you've done a lot of driving for dollars, but I did when some of those apps first came out. I would have one phone, and then the other one I had to like download this jogging app, which I would never have on my phone because look at me. But anyways, I would have that jogging app so that I could, it would draw the line of where I've been. Because when you start driving through some of these cities and it looks like, the map looks like spaghetti, it's real easy to miss this whole section over here. So yeah, love that, you can do it virtually, you can do it out in the car, and that it tracks where you're going, and then all that information, dumps back in. I mean, it's amazing. And the ability to call somebody, skip trace them, call them on the fly, and literally sitting out in front of their house, when they bought it, how long they lived there, what do they owe, who else is on the deed. I mean, just, the power of the data out there is just it's amazing. So, what you guys are doing for real estate communities, it's top notch.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I appreciate that, David. If we do have another minute or two, real quick, there is a couple questions. Looks like, and
Cool.
I'll throw this up on the screen too, David, for anyone who maybe wants to try batch leads. But David's a great partner of ours, so if any of you guys want to give this a try, if you use David's link, actually give you 50% off your subscription for batch leads, and for anyone today who wants to hop on and try, I'll double your skip trace credits for you.
Oh man.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
So we'll look out for that. If you guys do want to try it, scan the code to sign up for a trial if you'd like. But while you check out, even though you're just signing up for a trial, if you use that easy REI code, that's what's going to unlock that half off when you convert from trial and also get you those extra skip trace credits.
Nice. Nice. I would encourage you all to do that. That's a deal, man. I see these guys present all over the country, and that's very generous. Thank you.
First time we've done it, man. So let's see how it works.
Yeah.
Couple questions. So Tim, thanks for your question. Can all the filters be adjusted? Yes, they can. So I showed you quick filters today, but each individual data point that goes into those quick filters is its own individual filter. And you can actually modify those quick filters too. So like the tired landlord one I showed you, which is, hey, owned more than one property, has owned the property for more than 10 years. If you like 12 years rather than 10 years, you can go and modify that and resave that as a new quick filter of your own. So if you have your own formula for what data points make up the best, lead, you can save that into your own quick filter. Please give me the address. My scanning of the barcode is not working. I can do that. Let me drop it in the chat here. Just take me a second to grab. Actually, Alex, I sent you the code earlier in Slack. If you can grab that and then just dump it in the chat for me.
Cool.
That is not it. Nope. Scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. It is scroll up. There you go. Yep. Perfect. Well, hopefully you can get that here in the chat. Tim, that's the link itself.
Nice.
Any other, let's see, researchers. Okay. Any other questions from anyone else while we're on the call here? I think David records this too, and we'll distribute it out. So
yeah, we're gonna get it out there because I had a lot of people that this time of day, for East Coast people, this is early. So, but no, dude, I think it's amazing. The dialer, that the ability to pull out the numbers that are coming up as spam is absolutely incredible. That's maybe the coolest thing. I've never seen that you guys could do that. So that's absolutely wild.
Yeah, we found the caller ID reputation technology fairly early. This is all new stuff, and I think we're the first dialer to integrate it directly into the system. Others are just kind of using it externally, pulling their numbers out, doing an audit, and then putting it back in. But yeah, we're super excited that you don't even have to think about it anymore. We'll just fix the spam numbers for you and get you a new one. No purchases, no monitoring. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, guys. I mean, once because you want to make sure that again, you are paying for batch. You're going to pay to do some skip tracing, even though it's cheap. But you don't want to be calling somebody, spending your time, and it pops up spam, right? None of us answer those spam calls. So having the ability to just in the background, these things are just happening to help you. It's so powerful. My goodness, I mean, it's cool because I remember the days when we couldn't do any of these things, and yeah, this will definitely speed you along in your journey and make sure that you're really just optimizing your time, right? And that's what all this is about, right? It's buying the softwares and being a part of the things that are gonna spin the wheel of your company just faster and faster and faster. And Batch definitely we love everything about what they're doing, and definitely stand behind them and their ability to help you get your business off the ground or grow it to the next level.
And David, two more things real quick before we close out. Tim asks, is there any training videos? Yes, we have tons. We have a YouTube channel called Batch TV where you can find everything. We have a resource center on our website. But also, if you sign up for a trial or sign up for Batch Leads, one of the first things you're going to get invited to is our community, where bi-weekly we host live challenges and live trainings where you'll join a group of new cohorts in Batch Leads. And Landry Morby, sister of Pace Morby, if you guys have heard of that guy before, runs that community. And she does a phenomenal job of really hand-holding, giving personalized training and getting you feel really confident in the system. Lastly, question on Batch Dialer. So if you're interested in trying Batch Dialer, you go to batchdialer.com and you sign up for a trial. If you use Easy REI, the code in the checkout there, that's actually going to give you a bunch of free minutes, numbers that you won't have to pay for. And with that code, you actually get to try the reputation monitoring in the trial without having to upgrade. So if you guys want to give that a whirl too, I'd encourage you to do that. Easy REI is the code.
Nice. Awesome. Very cool. Super cool, man. Awesome. And yeah, the software I'm not going to keep going on about it because I remember we were out door knocking, putting out bandit signs. So this makes things so much easier. I love it.
Well, again, I appreciate your support, David. It's great to meet some folks in your community. Thank you for hosting me, and I look forward to doing this again.
All right. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day. Go out there, get some contracts. Make sure that you click this link before we close this down. And, if nothing else, let's, go out there, use that 7-day trial and see how Batch can help you run your business.